Good evening. It's a pleasure to see everyone. I love being back in Rancho Bernardo. I have lived in this area for 38 years and recently moved to Encinitas, which I love the beach, I love the community, but there's nothing like this area. My heart is still here. And what an exciting week it's been. It's so inspiring to hear the stories of so many women leaders who have struggled to break glass ceilings and have accomplished so much. I would think one thing that rings loud and clear is that each one of us can make a difference if we just put our mind to it. We all have the power to be leaders, to create change in our lives and the lives of others. It's been said that leadership is influence. In this regard, we are all leaders. How many of you are wives and mothers? Then as such, you exert tremendous influence on your families. You are the leaders in your households. It's important for us to take the time to reflect and realize the awesome power we have every day to create a positive home environment, to make our home a loving one, to encourage our spouses, partners, and our children. Each of you with families lead every day. And are there any teachers in the audience this evening? Yay, there you go. Next to being a mother, I believe that teaching is one of the most noblest professions and the most influential. Almost every successful person can point to a special teacher in their lives, someone who has made a big difference. One of my favorite quotes is that a teacher affects eternity. You never know where her influence stops. Whatever career path you select, your work for your church or your favorite charity, each of you lead every day. Certainly, you lead by example. The reality is that we need women leaders in all walks of life if we are to protect and sustain our quality of life. In retrospect, since I graduated from college about 40 years ago, it seems that women have accomplished so much in reaching equal status with men. From an educational perspective, today women receive over 50% of all the baccalaureate degrees, and more importantly, women now receive almost half of the doctoral degrees too. That's a far cry from 1970 when women received only 12% of the doctorates. So while we are on equal footing with men educationally, do you think we are achieving our full leadership potential in other fields? Let's take a look at leadership in education. 65% of teachers are women, yet only 35% of school principals are women. In the United States, women compose 50% of our workforce. But when it comes to leadership at the top of the Fortune 500 companies, women make up only 2.5% of the CEOs. And nationally, 35% of all lawyers are women, but only 5% of these women are partners in their firm. And one last statistic that I believe is very important. In California, women comprise 53% of all voters, yet we hold only 27% of the 120 seats in the California state legislature. This past election cycle was certainly historical. We had a woman running for president and a woman running for vice president. And for the first time ever, a woman is Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. I hope there's a generation of young women being inspired by these brave and accomplished women. These are important milestones, but on the whole, I'd say we still have a long way to go before we achieve the leadership positions equal to our male counterparts. That's why celebrating Women's Week is so important. And I want to thank Deborah Rosen and all the women who planned Women's Week. because this conference will inspire us to move forward and battle our way into the corporate boardrooms, work our way into that law firm partnership, become that school superintendent, or be the first woman president. Women need more than ever to support each other, to be leadership role models, inspire others to be women of influence. I was asked today to tell you my story about how I learned leadership, how an ordinary woman, and actually a very shy one, went from dental hygienist to elected office and was honored over the years by political appointments from local mayors, the governor, and the President of the United States. After graduating from college in 1969, I was married shortly thereafter and cut back on my dental hygiene practice to 1 day a week when my children were born. I was preparing to live happily ever after, building a supportive home life for my husband and sons, and perhaps doing a little volunteer work. But there was a little change in my plans, and it wasn't long before my first career change was in store for me. The new role presented itself to me at the request of my husband. He had just bought a small apartment complex for an investment and thought it'd be nice to start a family-owned business. And since he was a busy dentist, wouldn't I like to run this new enterprise from home during my spare time? I could still be an at-home mom. It was a reasonable request, so how could I say no? Long story short, within a decade, we had a very busy home business. Now, I never found this career particularly rewarding or fulfilling. After all, no one loves their landlord. No one's going to tell me that I'm doing an excellent job of collecting their rents. In fact, most people run when they see their landlord. For me, being an apartment manager was a challenge. Since I was not a business major in college, all of it was new to me. And at first, I learned by trial and error. Lots of errors, in fact. It soon became clear that I needed to take some business classes. It was the best thing I did. I learned a valuable lesson, that for each stage in life, for each new career, one must be educated and well prepared if you're going to do a good job. I learned that life is a continuous learning opportunity. Enrolling in an apartment manager course was time-consuming for a busy mom, but it was a very wise decision and saved me lots of headaches. I learned accounting, business schools, marketing and communications, and landlord-tenant law. And while I didn't love my new profession, I did appreciate that I was learning new skills, developing confidence, credibility, and most importantly, building new networks in the business world. And for you young women today entering the workforce, I would predict that you too will change careers many times, especially in our ever-changing economy and this very competitive job market. Some of your careers you will enjoy more than others, but in each one you will learn new skills which will help you be more successful in your career ladder. To balance my life, I turned to volunteerism as food for my soul, to balance the mundane of my work. When my sons entered public school, I knew that I should join the scores of other women who were volunteering through PTA. I suspect if I asked for a show of hands how many volunteered in the school, I would see almost every hand go up in this room. The enthusiasm for our mission was contagious, and naturally I became an ardent advocate for public schools. This is where I learned another important lesson in life, the rewards of volunteerism. Volunteerism brought me friendships and a tremendous feeling of satisfaction in helping the schools. In fact, I urge all of you, if you don't already, to become a volunteer. The needs of our community nonprofits are endless, and the personal reward is priceless. I also reaped many side benefits from volunteering. I experienced great personal growth and developed important new skills. In fact, many of my friends used these skills to launch new careers when their children went off to college. They became teachers, realtors, and other professionals. As president of the school PTA, I honed my leadership skills and learned to manage a large team of people. We had 20 dedicated and talented volunteers. To be more effective, I attended conventions to learn how to provide better leadership and enrichment programs for our school. But I didn't stop there. I decided that if I was going to make a real difference in improving our schools, I needed to influence the decision makers, to meet the school board, attend their meetings, and voice my opinion. And when a seat became vacant on our local school board, I had lots of encouragement from my network of friends to enter the race. After a vigorous grassroots campaign, I was elected to the Board of Education for the Poway Unified School District, with its 30 schools and 20,000 students covering over 100 square miles here in North County. And of course, during the campaign, I touted my business skills. That was back in 1992, dubbed the Year of the Woman in political circles because there were so many women entering and winning political races at the local, state, and national level. And here you see a difference between men and women politicians. For one thing, women usually enter politics later in life. I certainly did. I was 41 years old when I threw my hat in the ring. That same year, Supervisor Diane Jacob and Pam Slater-Price also ran for office. 2 other local women were successful in their bids for city council in Escondido and San Diego.